Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna teach you how to record your guitar. Let's go! So, welcome back. Today I wanted to show you all the different ways that you can use to record yourself with an instrument, especially guitar, but it goes for the bass almost the same. And we're going to get a bit technical, but we need to. So, first, either you have or you don't have an audio interface. An audio interface is something that you connect to your computer and it converts the signal, which is usually analog, to digital signal, and it lets you record on your computer. This can go from very cheap to thousands. And yeah, it depends on the quality, the inputs, the outputs, a lot of technical stuff that today we are not going to discuss, but if you don't have one, you need something that acts as one. So, for example, if you have an helix, if you have a fractal, if you have a simple pedal board, if you have an M-Wave, if you connect this via USB or any kind of digital emulation, digital pedal board, from the cheapest one to the most expensive one, usually they have the capability of recording, so they act as an audio interface. With this, it's really easy, and I'm going to show you. So, now we're going to record with something like this. It's very cheap. It's the M-Wave. You can find the review right up here. This is the cheapest way you can get into the realm of digital guitar modeling. It's really cheap. It has some preamps, some IRs, and you can save your presets here. It has Bluetooth capabilities, a ton of stuff. Really nice. It's very cheap. It doesn't sound amazing, but it's okay. And it's one of the easiest ways that you can get to record yourself because it has a USB. So if you don't have an audio interface, you simply connect with the USB to your computer. This acts as an audio interface. Yeah, you plug your guitar in, you have your sounds. So, now that you've connected, you select the input from the inputs, you create a new track, and now we are ready to record. So, now I have this preset, I simply hit record. The volume here is set by this thing. Of course, check that you're not clipping, so hit really hard to see if there's any red. You're probably clipping, and back down the gain a bit. And yeah, you can get great sound here. Then, if you don't use anything digital for your guitar, you probably have an amp and hopefully a microphone. And yes, in that case, you will need to get yourself an audio interface. The cheapest ones are stuff like this Behringer. I used it for a long time and it served me well. Believe me, it's not the interface that is usually the culprit of bad sound quality. It's much more important the way you record, the microphone, the gain that you set, a lot of other stuff. The interface is usually the last piece of the puzzle. It's important, of course, but it's not what makes the sound. It's not more important than the microphone that you're using, for example, or the guitar or the amp. So don't focus on spending a lot of money onto the audio interface. Of course, if you can buy a good one and you plan on recording yourself regularly, if you can get a decent one like the Audient I reviewed here, it's a great audio interface. Also I have the Evo stuff, it's very nice. It's a little bit different than the Audient, but it's still made by Audient. The converters sound a little bit less crispy, more flat, more clean, if you want to say. They have less character, but they sound very nice too. Yeah, I've been using this Evo, and yes, the review is coming. Other than that, the fact is that once you have an audio interface, you can record yourself with many ways. First, you get a microphone, you mic up your amp, boom, you're good to go. So, now we're going to record with a tube amp, with a microphone, straight into the interface, no plugins, not anything like that. So, the simplest way you can record yourself, if you have an amp, a guitar, and a mic, and an interface. So, you just simply mic the cab or the speaker up, check for the positioning. I usually like to put the microphone in between, not in the center of the cone, not at the very edge, but in between, something like that. More towards the edge though. I prefer the sound of it, but do your own experiments and figure out what you prefer, but I think that's a great starting point. So now we connect the interface, we select use, and we create a new track, select the input, and then we create a new track. You set the gain up. If you have something like this, the Evo can set the gain up for you. So it has a function of smart gain, and even the cheapest Evo interfaces have this. And really suggest it, because if you're a novice at this, it really helps you, and I think it's a great feature. But yeah, so if you don't have that, you simply put your gain, you strum the guitar, and you check for the level. As you can see here, it's not clipping. You can see it here. This is the harder it is I'm playing, and yeah, it's not clipping, so it's great. It's a great level. It has a little bit of headroom, and yeah, from here you can record yourself. But in this case, volume may be a problem. So for example, if you live in a flat, or you know, you have a family, you live with other people, and we sometimes do, volume can be a problem. The only way to record yourself with a real amp, and the only way you could record silently or straight into the interface without using a microphone, is either if the amp has an out that lets you record straight out of the amp without a load. So some amps have an integrated attenuator, so they don't necessarily need to have a load to have a cab connected, but most of the amps usually need to have something connected to their output, because otherwise they will blow up. They will simply blow up, because if you turn it on and you create power, that power needs to go somewhere, and usually that somewhere is the cab, which acts as a load basically. You can replace that load with something like an attenuator, which I always use. And usually attenuators, even the cheapest ones like this one from Harley Benton or the Bugera one, are also a line out. So with this you can go straight from the amp out, instead of going into a cab, going into the attenuator, which acts as a load. That way you can record silently, because from the attenuator itself you can then go into the line, from the line out to your audio interface, and boom, you're good to go. Some attenuators may have a USB connection. Those acts as an audio interface, and yeah, the thing that you need is some way to get from the source to the computer basically. I love recording with an attenuator, because not only I can record silently, so I can basically record at whatever time of the day, day and night, doesn't matter. I can crank up my tube amp and yeah, record silently with a great sound. If you have an amp that has also a line out, like my Jubilee has an integrated line out, it only needs a load to work, so you can't use the line out without having the output connected, but you can still record silently by using an attenuator just as a load. So the other way to record yourself is by using an attenuator and going from the attenuator into the audio interface. In this case, I am going from the line out of the Marshall itself. Not every amp has one. And yeah, from there you go into the audio interface, and remember that in this way you're going to record a sound that is very harsh, very crap, because there's no simulation of a cab. It's just the line from the amp, and so you will need an impulse response, which is basically a simulation of cab plus mic plus speaker. And there are a ton of ones that you can use. I really like York Audio ones and also on Hammer, but there are a ton out there. There are free ones. I think you need to invest in the if you're planning on recording, invest in good IRs. I mean, the ones that I use are 15 euros from York Audio, and they sound great. They are basically mix ready, and yeah, they sound great. It's the one that I always use, and this is the sound that I get going from the amp into the interface. No effects applied, just with the York Audio impulse response. It's really simple once you get the hang of it. I know this can be a little overwhelming at first, but believe me, you don't need to be very tech savvy to do this stuff. Then, after that, you go into the interface, and whatever the interface it is, you go into the computer. So, in the computer you need a digital audio workstation. There are plenty. I use Logic. You can use GarageBand if you have a Mac, and it's free for your Mac. If you are on Windows, there is Reaper, there is Pro Tools, but it's really quite expensive. So unless you get a free version, something like that with other stuff, usually you get if you buy an audio interface, you usually get a free copy of some kind of audio workstation software. Yeah, you need something like this. Don't try to use Audacity, please. It won't work long term. The most difficult thing to do is learn how to use a DAW. There are thousands of videos out there that teach you how to, and yeah, I know it's a bit overwhelming, but it's the thing that we need to do. If you plan on becoming a musician, even if you're not going to do that for a living, because today we not only need to be players, we also need to produce our own stuff. And if you know, most of the musicians out there record themselves and put out their own records. By the way, my song is out if you wanna check it out. It's up here or down in the description. The other way is by going straight into the interface with your instrument and using a plugin from the computer. So as you can see here, I have a Marshall simulation from Amplitude. Some of these amps are into Mixbox, which is like a simulation of a rack from IK Multimedia, but these amps are straight the ones that you can find in the Amplitude app. And this is a Marshall, of course. And yeah, you simply plug your guitar, check for the gain level. As I said, it's usually better to get around -18. And yeah, once you get that, you can hit record and you're good to go. Remember that you will have some latency depending on your computer, your setting. Yeah, my suggestion is to turn anything that isn't strictly useful off. And if it has one, enable the low latency mode in the DAW, like I have here in Logic. And yeah, you can play or record. And for example, this is the sound that I get. pedals too. So for example, I can add a simple DS1. Great. But why is it important to record yourself? I think it's one of the greatest ways to improve your playing, because we have a thing in our head. It's like it sweetens the way we play while we are playing. So we feel like gods with all the distortion, the delay and the stuff, and it's all great. But when you record yourself and you hear yourself recorded, you get, oh man, I'm out of tune. Oh man, I'm very slow on this passage. I'm not on time. Yeah, that stuff it's great. So many great musicians are studio nerds, because in the studio you have all the time to nerd up and get the best recording, but it teaches you how to improve and what you're getting wrong much more than playing live will. Yeah, the minor details that you can hear on a recording, you can't escape them. There's nothing that can fool you and can fool the audience. Like on a live performance, there is so many variables that can let even mistakes slip away from the audience. In a recording, it's simply impossible. If you get it wrong, it's wrong. It's there forever, and you need to fix it and do it again and do it again until you get it right. Don't rush it. You will get better at it. I know the first time you record yourself, it sounds crap. You feel like you've never played the instrument before. The moment you hit record, it's like entering for the first time on stage. It's really hard to get the hang out of it. And yeah, I know the feeling, but it will teach you a lot, so don't give up. So this is it for today. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video. I wanted to show you how to record because so many of you asked in comments how I record my own guitar, and so I decided to make a video about it because I think it's important to record yourself. I learned a lot about playing just by recording and trying to get better at this. And of course you can produce your own music, so that's great. I think that's the greatest thing that of the time we're living, is the fact that you can easily record yourself and get great sounding guitars and drums and stuff like that very cheap if you put yourself at it, because you know it's art and it's a form of art on itself. But yeah, subscribe if you want to support me, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!